Hey there, Sarah Jo here. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to sew a buttonhole using a sewing machine. Besides a sewing machine, you'll need a washable fabric marking pin or tailor's chalk, fusible interfacing, a ruler, an ironing board, and an iron. Thread, preferably matching to your fabric, although in this tutorial I'm using contrasting threads so you can see better, and a buttonhole foot. To begin, mark the buttonhole location on the right side of the fabric. Next, iron on the fusible interfacing. This helps stabilize the fabric so it doesn't warp when it's sewn. With the bumpy side facing the wrong side of the fabric, align the fusible interfacing in the general area of the mark you made for the buttonhole. Typically, I'd use a pressing cloth between the iron and the fabric, but since this is just a sample, I'll press it as is. You can see the edges of the interfacing clearly, but if you use a pressing cloth, those edges won't be as obvious. Next, we'll sew the buttonhole. Adjust the buttonhole foot to the necessary width. You can place a button in this area and it will set it to the perfect width. In this example, I'm just using a 3/4 inch measurement. Attach the buttonhole foot to the machine. Pull down the buttonhole lever and select the buttonhole stitch you want to use. Place the fabric under the presser foot with the end closest to you placed under the needle. I suggest playing with stitch speed before actually sewing a buttonhole. I found a medium speed works best on my machine for this specific fabric. Press on the presser foot and keep pressing until your machine automatically stops sewing. I keep my hands near the sewing project in case it needs guiding, but for the most part, your machine will do this all by itself if you're just using a computerized sewing machine. Once the buttonhole is sewn, I use a seam ripper to carefully cut the center of the buttonhole open. Be careful not to cut through any of the stitches. Slower is much better on this step. And that's how you sew a buttonhole with a sewing machine. Happy sewing!